I call now on Fiji, Honorable Minister Inia, Batikoto, Seruiratu, followed afterwards by Kazakhstan and then Morocco. Minister, you have the floor.
Mr. Chairman, Honorable Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor and privilege to address this august body on this fourth session of the Global Platform for Disaster Risk Reduction. I bring with me warm greetings from the people and the government of Fiji. Fiji is indeed honored to be part of this global event, and we are deeply humbled to be able to be privy to its many initiatives, shared experiences, and honorable intentions. Chair, ladies and gentlemen, Fiji, as you would have probably known, is located in the Pacific Ring of Fire and is therefore exposed to geophysical and hydrometeorological hazards. Hydrometeorological hazards include tropical cyclones, storm surges, floods, and droughts, whereas geophysical hazards include earthquakes, tsunamis, and landslides. Fiji is also located within the cyclone belt of the southern hemisphere, and consequently, it experiences on average one cyclone per year. This poses difficulties and hardships for the government of Fiji as rehabilitation and construction of national infrastructure and its inhabitants' livelihood required after a cyclone or any other hazardous events drains the limited national financial resources. The adoption of the Hyogo Framework for Action has indeed assisted our efforts to become more resilient to and cope better with hazards and that threaten our development gains. Fiji has made some progress towards addressing these priorities for action of the HFA, and I will highlight a few of these. Fiji's main institutional framework is the Disaster Management Act and the Disaster Management Plan. Both are under review and will soon be adopted. Disaster risk reduction and climate change adaptation are factored into the regulations so that we ensure that these initiatives become national priority. The review stresses that an effective crisis and emergency management system under national leadership is essential. Fiji is currently working with the Japanese government through the Japan International Cooperation Agency in the installation of flood warning systems in some of our major riverways. These flood gauges will provide early warning to communities downstream of impeding flood, thus allowing them adequate time to secure their properties and relocate to higher safe grounds. Fiji is also working on the identification and assessing of higher disaster risk areas, especially communities who are likely to be affected by the impacts of climate change, and actually formulating viable courses of action to reduce the risk or mitigate the impacts of hazards. To this effect, a number of communities were relocated to safer localities. Training at all levels remains one of our top priorities, and we are indeed grateful for the assistance from international friends and regional donor organizations. We are also working towards strengthening the mechanisms for information sharing and cooperation between all stakeholders. On reducing the underlying risk factors, the managing of the environment by environmental officials and all stakeholders sees them implementing and introducing methodologies of managing forests to safeguard biodiversity and livelihoods in a changing climate situation. Lastly, Fiji is planning to upgrade its National Emergency Operations Center together with its logistic capabilities. This is carried out with the intention of using it for pre-positioning or forward basing of relief supplies for the South Pacific region and coordinating of response efforts under one roof. This will bring the efficiency and effectiveness of delivery of services within the region, as Fiji is centrally located in the South Pacific. To conclude, Fiji is shifting from a culture of reaction to a culture of prevention. And investment in disaster risk reduction is one of government's main priorities now. It helps to reduce the losses, which are larger and more difficult to measure and have greater impacts on the development of the country. Fiji looks forward to the outcome of this fourth global platform for disaster risk reduction, and with our continued support and cooperation, we'll realize the expected outcome of the Hyogo Framework for Action. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister.